Yeah.
All right. Let's get into a conversation here, man. Yeah, man. It's your boy Friday Ricky Dread here with another interview for your head top. Big salute to all the sponsors that you're going to be seeing rolling across the bottom of the screen. And for all the people who are tapping in on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button. You know what I'm saying? But today I'm about to have a special conversation here with this gentleman who I've been seeing on the news a lot of times when a lot of different things have been going on in the city, and the city here being the city of Toronto, where a lot of different crazy things been going down. This gentleman has been a reform gang member. He's been out in these streets. He's been out in the studio and doing his rap thing at one point in time, but we ain't gonna talk about that today. We got other topics to get to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But a very important conversation that I'm about to have here. I would like to welcome to the We Love Hip Hop Network, MARCEL Wilson in the motherfucking building. Thank you, brother.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming through, brother. So talk to me, man. I've seen you recently on the news for just, again, tragic incidents. It's unfortunate sometimes when I see you on the news, brother, because it's usually you're speaking on different things that are going on in the community, and you're a voice that a lot of people respect in the community. Can you talk to us about the last time that you were seen on the news? R.I.P. to the young gentleman JahVai, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, we lost the youngest member of my organization.
Wow.
Yeah, 8-year-old boy named JahVai Roy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was murdered in an unfortunate, from what we know, an unfortunate accident where some shots were fired. Bullet went through the window and he got shot and killed while he was in his bed with his mom. Like the safest place it's supposed to be the safest place in the world.
Yeah. And from what I was seeing on the news, like they're saying like the shooters were like just shooting at a playground, which to me it sounds crazy already, but it's 12:30 at night. So obviously the playground is not for kids at that time of the night.
Right.
Like it's kind of like a weird paradox because the playground is also being used for the gangsters. Like how do we get there, man?
I mean, Friday that's how it's kind of been, right?
Yes.
Like after certain hours, the playground became ours.
Yeah.
So from what we do know, there was a group of youngsters, there was a group of young people standing at that playground at the time the shots were fired. So, we can speculate and say that they were shooting at that group of kids or group of people.
Yeah.
And, just basically shot up the whole place.
I had a rant the other day before I get into my other list of questions, right? Where I was talking about, I feel that the people who are into the gangbanging shit are like maybe 20 to 30% tops of the people in the hood, holding the rest of the 70-80% under siege. Am I right about that, or is the statistic you feel like a little bit higher? Like guys who growing up in the hood who are in the streets, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the guys actually in the muck.
Yeah,
I'd say it's even less. I'd say it's about 10% as far as like the guys that are ready to go to war.
Yeah,
and then 20% guys that hang around 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and then the rest of the community are definitely hardworking people who are trying to work their way out of the hood.
Yeah. And it sucks because then we get the stigma of the hood and, people are over there are dangerous.
Yeah.
It reflects badly on Black people because, most of the time it's the Black community.
That's right.
And on average, like you said, it's even less than what I was thinking. Like I thought 30%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, if it was 30%, we'd see a lot more.
Yes.
A lot more war in the streets. But yeah, unfortunately, the 10% control at least the narrative of the community, and that's partially media's fault, right? Like typically the media, mainstream media, is only ever in marginalized neighborhoods when things like this happen.
Yeah,
there are tons of positive things that go on in marginalized communities where they're putting things together for kids programs, and those things don't get coverage, right? So you're only seeing the damage that the 10% brings to the table.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, man. And listen, I want to say R.I.P. to JahVai. Condolences to his family too, man. I seen that they were doing a vigil, and they're going to be doing something later on in a couple of weeks as well.
On Monday.
On Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, man. Salute to the family, man.
Thank you.
Can you talk to me about the 1 by 1 movement?
Yeah, sure. So we're a corporation. We're a think tank.
Okay.
And we do some consulting. We do some social program designing. And of course, we're advocates. And I guess what makes us unique, there's been other groups like us before us, but we're comprised of formers, but what's special about my group is most of the formers in my group would be considered high profile formers. So
when you say formers, you're talking about like former street gang members.
Former gang members, former Al-Qaeda. We have former neo-Nazis. We have former cartel, former, hitman for mob. The list is deep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, and you yourself, you were like a former gang member once upon a time. Can you break that down? Like, how do you even get from being a young man to getting into a gang?
Discover Canna Cans, where quality meets innovation. With over 24 premium strains, each carefully sealed in our signature cans for maximum freshness. We're redefining the cannabis experience. Trusted Canada-wide for consistency and reliability. We deliver the product you deserve. Elevate your expectations and explore the difference with Canna Cans. You can find Canna Cans on Instagram at CannaCans_Canada, or you can find them on the Diamond Club page, DiamondClub_Ontario. Make sure to use the code WeLoveHipHop on the way out and get yourself a little discount. Salute to the sponsors. Cheers.
Well, I grew up in housing, right? I grew up in a place called Swansea Mews. I spent a lot of my time in Parkdale, in the downtown core. I mean, I had issues at home. There were things going on in my neighborhood, and the guys that I looked up to in my neighborhood were involved in that lifestyle. So at a young age, I was on the streets, mostly in Parkdale. I had met a mentor over there. And, I talk about him. He's my dude, a guy you would know, Cash.
Oh, salute.
And Cash kind of taught me how to sell crack and get into that kind of game. And at the time, there was an issue in the city. I don't know if you remember all this, Friday, but there were a lot of skinheads at the time going around the city beating up, anyone of any race. So these small cliques started to form that were more neighborhood-based. And then there was a group out in the East End called the Looney Tunes. And they kind of influenced us through some family members they had in the West. And we formed a group called the Tiny Tunes.
Tiny Tunes.
Right? And then the Tiny Tunes linked up with like 20, 30 other gangs. And we became the Black Cloud.
Wow. I've heard different stories about the Tiny Tunes and the Looney Tunes. This is before my time of moving here to Toronto. I moved here in 97.
Yeah.
So this is like early 90s times and stuff like
that. Yeah, early to mid 90s, yeah.
Yeah, so like, can you talk to me about what Toronto was like back then, especially just like even in the streets and stuff, man?
Man, I mean, it's not, the only difference between now and then is the amount of guns, right? But as far as like, it was the crack epidemic. Right? So basically, a lot of people going through mental health issues who are hooked on drugs. So if you grew up in places that were marginalized and they had a lot of drug users, typically it was an easy path for a young person to make some extra money, to buy some Jordans, to, feel like they were something, like they were included, right? So, I mean, there wasn't much difference as far as, back then it was more, from the Black communities, it was more Jamaican dominated, along with Nova Scotians.
Yeah.
Right. So those were the dominant groups in the Black communities, and it just kind of evolved into what it is now.
And like, what was your family unit like? What was like the household like? Was there mom, pa, brothers and sisters? Was it a full house?
Yeah. So I come from a single mom. She was very young. She had me at about 16 years old.
Yeah.
My father was around, but not necessarily present, all the time. He was actually a pretty popular reggae artist at the time. And his family was up in the Jane Finch corridor. So Tobermory, Yellowstone. This is before there were all divisions up in that area. So like I had uncles in almost all the rivaling neighborhoods now. So, I mean, I had a father and then I had a stepfather. Now, the weird part about that is because I had a stepfather, I had a little bit more than the rest of the guys in the hood, you know?
Mhm.
So Christmas time, I had like more toys.
Yeah.
Maybe I had some more clothing, and it actually made me a target for bullying. Like,
Interesting.
guys in my neighborhood hated on me because I had that much more.
Yeah, even though you're in the same hood.
Same hood,
Yeah.
same issues, same things, you know? So yeah, that was the temperature then.
And you growing up, like, just going back to the gangs for a second, like,
Mm.
because you're explaining how back in those days there wasn't Bloods and Crips as there are now.
No.
Right? I think that came in more in like 95, 96 times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
What was like some of the different gangs that they had like in Toronto before all of like those before, to be honest, hip hop started to infiltrate even gang culture as much more.
Absolutely, man. I mean, so yeah, you're right. There wasn't much of the Blood Crip thing. It was they were neighborhood based gangs. So actually, no, I'm gonna correct myself because like when you look at Jamestown back in those times, you had NBC, Newborn Crips, you know, you had the Woolner Gators, you know, and then you had the LAs. There was a Latin gang, Latin Alliance. You know, you had the Christie Boys, but then you also had gangs that were like Portuguese based, you know, McCormick Boys and Fred Hamiltons. Like, to be honest, I didn't know much about the East End at them times because the West and the East didn't really like
agree like that.
Yeah, it was kind of like you were an out of towner, you know. And then who else? There was some more YBG, Young Blood Generation. So they were emulating. We were emulating, but obviously weren't. I would say, you know, we weren't real Crips or Bloods because we weren't following their charter. But that did end up happening later.
Yes, because I heard that at one point in time, I wasn't here at this point, that there was some LA guys who came up to Toronto and New York and like I felt like there was some kind of like missionary statement going on or something. Like, what happened, fam?
That's true. That's true. There was a bit of that. Like, in our particular group, we had mostly guys from New York, like Die Hard and them guys, right? So we had more 5%er influence than anything. And so these guys were kind of bringing their charters, you know, the structure that we didn't have. Again, before we were kind of just like loose neighborhoods. Yeah. And then some organizing did happen.
Yeah. So through all of those times while you're out there, you're moving around, you got shot 2 times?
Yeah.
I want to take a quick break from this episode to give a big shout out to Only Loud, Canada's one-stop shop for your favorite legacy brands and all things loud. Only Loud provides mail order delivery nationwide and same-day delivery to those in the Ottawa area. Check them out at onlyloud.ca or follow them on their socials, Instagram at onlyloudcanada or on Snapchat onlyloud.ca for more exclusive content. Only Loud is not just a product, it's a lifestyle. Big salute to the sponsors. Cheer.
Damn,
bro.
Yeah. I don't really speak publicly on that because, you know, but yeah, I got hit in the leg. And at that time I was active, you know, and then the next year, because of someone else's beef, you know, I got hit in my hand, took my knuckle off.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
Because listen, I want this to be something as far as like a learning lesson for people out there who are still in the streets, because people think that getting shot and all that stuff, like, oh, it's soft, you know what I'm saying? I know mad guys who got shot, but like psychologically, what you go through when you survive a shooting?
It's traumatizing to this day. Most people in my organization have been shot at some point.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like a simple thing like a car pulling up to you too quickly while you're standing on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Or, you know, the old school thing is sitting in a restaurant. You don't want to put your back to a door or even just something like a firecracker popping off by your head.
Yeah.
But people don't want to admit it. Again, it's a stigma in our community where we have to, it's almost like a badge of honor now. But deep down inside, especially, you know, we deal with a lot of these guys that are active, you know, and we're dealing with them as they're in the hospital. As they're coming out of the hospital. I'm telling you, the stories, you know, the bravado, the stories are different, you know? And I understand they have to protect their ego, they have to protect their image. That's part of it, right? But it does damage you. I definitely suffer from PTSD to this day.
Yeah.
100%.
It's sad because what you're talking about there, like the bravado and different things like that, like there's a lack of vulnerability because it's going to show weakness, right?
Absolutely.
Can like gangsters go to therapy, like real therapy? I'm not talking about just like somebody who just hustled a few drugs and stuff like that. Like mans who pop niggas and shit like that. Like, because I feel like those are the ones who need the most therapy, but you can't go to a therapist and be like, yo, I shot 2 mans, bro.
I mean, you can, right? Like, so there's an oath between I think
the Hippocratic Oath,
right? But specific for psychologists. If you go and tell a doctor that, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But I think there are people you can talk to where, I'm not sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm not sure. But look at The Sopranos, right? I know that's a fictional story.
Yeah.
Right? But you got the leader, a mob boss who's basically has a confidant that knows exactly how the entire network of how a mob operates.
Yeah.
And he's got a therapist. So I mean, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to do something about it, because then you're just gonna get stuck in that same cycle. And we find a lot of these young guys that we deal with that are like, living that life. Most of them have issues.
They need therapy.
I mean, you could see it.
Yeah.
It doesn't even take a doctor to see like, yo, this guy's got problems.
Yeah. No, that's real talk, man. And even like when I look at the times, the fact that we have social media now and all these different layers, but I'm also somebody who, I've been on the Real Toronto DVD.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that.
And there was a bunch of wild shit happening there. It's just that we didn't have the access to putting up a camera phone. Right. But when a camera came out, we went crazy.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
What do you think is worse, back then or now, fam?
In what regard? As far as the violence?
The violence, the streets? Because even like right now, and before you start, our statistics have been going downwards.
Okay.
Right?
I've heard
that time in Real Toronto, that was the year of the gun. That was like one of the most violent times.
All right. So I prepared for this question Friday. Right. So I know you're a stats guy, right? So I basically, and I'll just be, just to keep it 100, I used AI, right? And I basically asked, what year was the year that the vlogger / podcast boom happened?
Interesting.
Right? So that was around 2010, but then there was this mega spike, like a straight shoot up in 2014.
Interesting.
Now, if you then I asked AI about the stats on shootings, not necessarily death and murder, but shootings, right? And if you look at the metrics here, right, they correlate. So you have your soft spike in 2010, and then you look at 2014 and look at the gun violence along with it in 2014.
Damn.
So numbers
send that to me so I can pop it up on the screen.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So do you think that the boom in everybody using these microphones and also having the phone up to their face helped to attribute to the rise in the gun violence and stuff on the streets?
100%. I'm glad you're finally touching on this subject because, I kind of have been going at people in the mainstream media about the correlation, but it's not, believe me, I want to see brothers that come from where we come from make it like yourself. I love that. Respect. Right. But then if it's adding to the pot, then there's gotta be people that can call it out and we can have open discussions about it. Right. So yes, the answer is there's 100% it contributes, because look at it this way. Back when me and my dudes were on road, Friday, for me and you to have a beef, we'd have to bump into each other on the road.
Facts.
Right? Like there'd have to be something that happened face to face. You fucked with my money or some kind of turf thing. Whatever it was, we had to be face to face. Then possibly that could lead to death, right? Where now, two guys who would never meet in real life, like this guy's from Deep Scarborough, this guy's from the Deep West.
Yeah.
And they have a little banter online. And real people are dying in real time.
Yeah. Is that, media podcast fault, or is that just a combination of these guys having access to the phone? Because a lot of these times, and I'm not trying to take any accountability away from us, because I do understand that podcast mics and that definitely helps.
Yeah.
Niggas get on this show sometimes, They've jumped on tables. There've been all kind of crazy shit.
Yeah.
Guys getting at each other. So I'm not going to act like I'm innocent.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times they be doing this.
Yeah.
Fuck the op. Da 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 da. When I see you, I'm smoking you. Da da da. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why I'm not going to put it on you. No. Definitely. I don't just necessarily mean podcasts. I mean social media itself.
Yeah.
Right. Like the platforms themselves, because you're a middleman in that case, right? Like they can do it on their own in a lot of cases. Most cases they do.
Yes.
By the time you're reporting on shit, there's already been, like, I can't think of any beefs that I know of, and we're pretty tapped in with what's going on, right? I can't think of any particular beef that I know of that came specifically from something you said or did on the show.
Roll Ready Detailing, now open 7 days a week from 8 to 5 p.m. 750 Oakdale Road, Unit 66, specializing in ceramic coating perpetual with warranty, PPF, tints, wraps, vinyl wraps, and hand car washes. Remember, we clean anything on wheels.
Roll ready, ready for the road.
Typically, you're intervening at a point where those beefs are already sparked up.
Yeah.
Right? So you're right about, they have access, they can create their own platforms. It's just when those platforms are amplified.
Yes.
Right? That's where you're contributing in a negative way.
I could understand that. And also I could take accountability for that. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I respect that.
Hey, the algorithm is what it is. My defense, what I always say when it comes to this is I provide both.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't excuse having, content that might be deemed as negative.
Yeah.
But I'm also reporting news stories and stuff like that.
No,
and I'll
I get you.
provide the alternative.
It's not, not 100% on you, Friday.
Oh, and I know that, but I'm just saying, just as when people see, because when people see this, they're going to be like, yeah, Friday, he told you. You know what I'm saying?
I get
But
you.
like real talk, I always try to provide the alternative. Like I did an interview with Gavin Shepard that I just dropped a couple of days ago, right?
Right.
And it's doing okay, but it's not going to do as good as K Money coming in talking about getting into a fight at the Rogers Center and shit like that. Like,
there you go, supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
So that's part of, instead of people kind of pointing the finger at you or these type of platforms, you need to kind of look in the mirror because it's the content. So that's our philosophy about the gun. We keep getting asked, especially in the political space, right? Like we've spoken in the House of Commons, we've spoken in the Senate about Bill C-21, which is, should we remove legal firearms from Canadians in order to bring the gun violence rate down? And it's absolutely preposterous. That's an inanimate object like your phone.
Yeah.
Right? It's the motivation behind why someone would pick up a gun, why someone would pick up a knife. Let's deal with that. Let's deal with the demand rather than the supply. So again, people kind of have to look in the mirror rather than pointing the finger at the platform. A lot of it is about what you're choosing to intake.
Yeah. What about backlash? Because I know sometimes when I'm having rants about like, you guys are knuckleheads, you got to cut out the violence, stuff like that. I'll see sometimes in the comments or in my DMs, yo, pussy, you don't know what you're talking about. Stay out the streets. Right? As somebody who's actively, trying to get people to turn their lives around like that, do you ever get backlash from people who are in the streets still like, yo, Bridget, don't worry about what we do in the streets?
I mean, you'd be surprised, Friday. We get a lot of love, right? And I think it's because we do that. We do the media piece. But the one thing that trumps all that is that we're actually present. We're in those blocks.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're giving diapers to your baby mother, or we're helping your moms out with a ride to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Right. And then we also work in the jails, right? So a lot of times we're helping mans, get back on road and trying to get them into job situations and whatnot. So they know that we have their best interest at heart.
Yeah.
So it's actually very rare. Like, I mean, I could probably count on one hand how many negative comments. And I mean, you can research this. Look at every piece of media, and there's a lot of me out there talking, and we talk about everything, police, judges, everything, right? I mean, I could count on one hand the negative feedback. And then when we're on road, and I brought one of our guys purposely just to kind of testify, that, yeah, it's all love, man. We get love,
Yeah. No, that's a beautiful thing, man. I love to see that what you guys are doing, helping to change in the community, because like, bro, even if you could just get some change from a couple of guys at a time, bro, it helps to start the cycle for more people. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying?
That's why we're called One by One. We're not claiming we're going to save the world. We'd like to, but if we can get one guy to change up, that's going to bring these numbers down.
Yeah.
Then we've done our job.
Yeah. No, that's real shit right there. Are the numbers really down right now? Because they're saying that right now, even this year, I think there might be like 18 to 19 murders at this point when like we're filming this.
Yeah.
In comparison to like maybe years previous where there have been like maybe 25, maybe 30 at this point.
Right.
Are those numbers real, or are they underreporting these numbers?
Okay, so that's a great question. So us being a think tank, it's all about data collection, right? And when you look at things from a scientific perspective, it's all about how you're collecting the data. What is it that you're tracking, right? So are they tracking like every discharge, every time a gun's been fired?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you do that, the numbers are up statistically based on. So now as far as how many people have died, that just means guys are getting worse at aiming. You know what I mean? Because based on the amount of shots that are out that have been fired compared to last year, if these guys were hitting their targets, we'd be on par or we'd be above.
Worse. Yeah. So there's definitely been a rise in violent crime. That's not a secret.
Yeah.
What do you think has been attributing to the rise in violent crime?
One main thing in particular, and that's access. Access to illegal firearms, right? Like back in our day, if a man had a strap, he was a big man. Like that was an accomplishment. Like, you were a brand name.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't easy to come across. And then when you had it, because it was so difficult to get, it was like currency. You literally you only kept it and used it when you really, really needed it, because you're not gonna have it after you use it.
Yeah.
So they weren't easy to come by. Now it's like they can change them with their clothes, like,
and make ghost guns and all type of shit.
Make all kind of one shot, all kind of stuff, man. So now that when it becomes so accessible, it's not a currency anymore, right? So that's the main contributor. And I don't mean this to be disrespectful in any sense, because I basically love all these people. The reason we do the work we do is we want to save them. We want them to have a future, but take away the guns from more than half of them, and are they still on that shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, are they throwing hands with a man my size or big guys? Are they like, does it change the game? Does it change the game? They might stab you up, but I'm just saying, if you take away the guns, like, again, a 12-year-old with a gun, right?
Yeah, and I don't want to diss the man them, but a lot of these guys are
not a diss.
They're not big, bro. They're like, they're kind of stringy.
That's what I mean. It's not a diss. It's not a diss. There's no dissing.
It's just real talk, fam.
It's just real shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Take away the guns, half the shooters are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Okay, last couple of questions I even have when I was asking about the whole rise in violent crimes in the streets, right? Do you think immigration has added to any of the rise of the, because over the last 5 years, there was like a heavy spike in immigration.
Right.
Did that add to the rise in violent crimes in the streets?
So check this out. We did a study about 5 years ago where we put out a public study called The Public Perception of Gang Involvement in Canada.
Right.
Right. So oddly enough, a lot of our support is like middle class Canada that supports One by One. Right. And this is a demographic that have a particular view about people like us. Right. Like from the neighborhoods we come from, immigration. So we asked that specific question in the study. And a lot of people believe that, immigration plays a huge role, but here are the facts as we know it. Now, this is not from statistics. This is from us on the ground and what we see. So I'd say a large percent, above 70% of immigrants who come here are hardworking people. They're not here to scam. They're here to work, and they do all the stuff that we need done in society that you and I don't want to do.
Right.
Cleaning toilets and serving food and driving taxi and all this kind of stuff, right? It's their children, Canadian born. They're born into a system here, right? And now you have a parent that don't speak the language. So they kind of act as like when it comes to like reading immigration papers. They're translating for their parents. When the principals want to talk about, hey, this kid's got a problem, he ain't translating the right information.
He ain't going back to home and saying that he even got in trouble.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So mom can't read the report cards. And think of like, let's say Nigerian families, Somali families. So they come here, they work their asses off, their kids get put into our system that fucks them up, right? So no, it's not the immigrants. It's Canadian-born children that are creating most of the problems, and that's from our experience.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. What do we do as far as solutions, just for everything that we've spoken about in our conversation here? The gun violence, gang activity, all those different things. Like, what can we do to get some solutions to some of these things, some of these problems?
So we have a 3-pronged solution, right? And I mean, this is something we've been preaching from the mountaintops. There are a multitude of risk factors, like I think 32, 35 that's been verified, identified risk factors that lead someone this way.
Right.
But the 3 major things, short-term solution, as I said earlier, I've said it in the media and I stand by it, is getting the illegal guns off the streets. As many of those as we can get off the streets and stop from coming in, that right there immediately will decrease the extreme violence we're seeing, right? Then in the long-term solution is we need to invest in prevention. But when you talk to politicians about prevention, that's an ugly word,
right? Because
that's a 10-year investment. That's an investment that goes beyond their election period. And most politicians only want to invest in things that'll make them look good during their term. They don't. So then it's like, do they really care about us? So we need politicians that are brave, that really give a shit about Canadians, that are going to make long-term investments beyond their election period into prevention space, getting at these youths when they're really young. Because some of them, as you know, Friday, and we know, they're too far gone. And we don't give up on them. Our doors are always open. And believe me, we have a lot of brand names that fuck with our organization. I wouldn't say them here, but our doors are always open. But we got to get to the youngsters, right? And invest in them young. So that's the long term. And then the middle solution is the public. It's a strange phenomenon. The public don't care enough. Like, we'll talk about it. Something like this happens with JahVai. It's a headline for a week. And then next Monday, everyone's, back to driving bus, back to their 9 to 5. And they make it so hard to live here. Everything's so damn expensive. You got so much stress on your plate. But this topic should be a topic that's at every dinner table, at every kitchen table, whether you're, upper class, middle class, low class, white, black, whatever religion you practice. This should be something that's spoken about every single day. How to keep your child safe. So that's our 3-pronged solution to this.
No, man, that's some words of wisdom right there, man. I feel that this is something that people should rewind in that part of the tape, and when you're looking for solutions too, man.
Yeah, man, respect.
What's next for you, man?
I mean, we just keep plugging. So we kind of have a global movement right now. I just spent a couple years in Southeast Asia, spreading the movement over there. We got some stuff going on in Dubai, in Italy, Jamaica, Philly, Detroit, Louisiana. So we're a corporation, but there's 2 sides to us. More than a corporation, we're an actual movement. So it's more just about spreading this word, getting more people with lived experience involved, and getting to these young folks and trying to save their lives, save them from themselves.
Yeah. Nah, man, I'm digging it. I'm looking forward to everything that you guys got going on. I want to even start contributing and doing what I can to help the one by one movement, man.
Wicked.
I commend you for doing this and putting your neck out there in the city, because a lot of people, they might be like, I'm not in the streets no more, but I ain't fucking with these niggas. I'm out of here.
It's true,
You know what I'm saying?
true.
So I commend you, brother.
Thank you.
know,
Respect for that.
thank you,
bro.
man, for your services out here.
And,
brother.
and thank you for the platform, brother. This
No.
is very important because this is going to touch a demographic that we need to speak directly to.
This is why I have you on here, bro. The gangsters love our shit.
Yeah.
People are watching us from inside, from in jail. So I think that the message has to get to the people who need it, man.
Yeah, man. Respect.
No, thank you, man. There we have it, man. Marcel Wilson in the building. Big salute to all the sponsors that you're going to be seeing rolling across the bottom of the screen. Hit that like button on the way out. We are off of this. Deuces.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out these other videos on the screen and make sure to like and subscribe.
We love hip hop.